The Haunting of Elmsbrook House. A decrepit old mansion stood at the edge of Elmsbrook, abandoned for decades. Stories spoke of strange figures seen through its windows at night, whispers that seemed to come from the shadows. Despite the warnings, Ava, a curious urban explorer, decided to investigate. She arrived at twilight, the sun casting its final rays over the twisted trees surrounding the house. The wooden steps creaked as she ascended, and the front door, as if welcoming her in, swung open with a moan. Inside, the air was thick with mildew and decay, a stench that clawed at her throat. Ava moved through the halls, her flashlight casting long, distorted shadows on the peeling wallpaper. She felt a strange pull towards a room on the second floor. There she found a large mirror covered with a stained sheet. Intrigued, she pulled the sheet away, revealing a dusty antique mirror, its surface dark and cloudy. As she peered into the glass, her reflection stared back until it blinked. Startled, she stepped back. Her reflection remained, staring at her with eyes that grew darker, turning into hollow voids. She tried to turn away, but something unseen held her in place, forcing her to face the mirror. Her reflection's mouth twisted into a ghastly grin, splitting wider and wider until the skin tore, revealing sharp teeth and blackened gums. The reflection whispered in a voice that clawed at her sanity. "You shouldn't have come here. Now, you'll never leave." Ava felt her own mouth move, but no sound came out. A dark shape began to emerge behind her in the mirror, a shadow that grew limbs, then a face, its eyes sunken, skin a sickly gray, and a mouth dripping with black ichor. It reached a clawed hand towards her shoulder. She spun around, but nothing was there. When she looked back at the mirror, the figure was gone. Relief flooded her, until she realized that her own reflection was missing too. Her flashlight flickered, casting fleeting shadows across the room, and then it died. Plunged into darkness, she fumbled for her phone to use its light. When it illuminated the mirror again, she saw herself standing behind her own reflection, twisted, contorted, her eyes bleeding darkness. Suddenly, the phone slipped from her hand, and the room plunged into total blackness. A deep growl rumbled through the air, vibrating the floor beneath her feet. She could feel a presence circling her, unseen but tangible, cold and damp. Then it spoke again, this time from everywhere at once. "You are mine now." Ava tried to scream, but only a strangled whisper escaped her lips. A cold hand gripped her ankle and dragged her to the floor. She clawed at the dusty boards, but something pulled her relentlessly toward the mirror. Her body hit the glass with a bone-cracking impact, and she felt herself being pulled through, like sinking into freezing water. She was inside the mirror now, trapped in that twisted reflection world where everything was wrong. Her reflection stood on the other side, smirking with those hollow eyes. It stepped out of the mirror and into her world, leaving her in a shadowy prison of distorted shapes and whispers that never ceased. Desperately, she pounded on the glass, trying to break free, but her new form was too weak. She realized the horrible truth. She had become a shadow just like the others that haunted this place. The last thing she saw before the mirror turned pitch black was her own reflection, walking down the stairs of the mansion, slipping out the front door, wearing her face and her life like a mask. It turned to the mirror, grinned, and whispered, "Welcome home." Now, if you visit Elmsbrook House at night, you might hear faint pounding from the second-floor window. And if you peer into the dusty old mirror, you may catch a glimpse of a shadowy figure clawing at the other side, forever trapped in darkness.